Hi, my name is Ray Goforth. I'm SPIA's Executive Director. As many of you are aware, SPIA and the Boeing Company have had a number of outstanding conflicts over how our collective bargaining agreement is supposed to work. SPIA's Executive Board has been meeting with company officials and looking at ways to resolve those. They've made a great deal of progress. Those resolutions have turned into full contract offers for the professional and the technical bargaining units. Matt will now explain those contract offers.
Hello, my name is Matt Kempf, and I'm creating this video to explain the Boeing and SPIA 2020 through 2026 proposed contract amendment extension. This presentation, a version of this presentation, is going to be presented at the BUC, the Bargaining Unit Council, the various bargaining unit councils, on February 13th at 2:30. This is an extension of the current 2016 through 2022 contract. It extends it through 2026. A lot of the articles didn't change, and some of them did. So many of the articles have no change. For example, the holidays is noted as an immaterial change because there's no additional holidays, but the dates have changed. For workforce administration, I believe the only change in that article is that we have replaced the word total access with work life or work day. So a lot of them have immaterial changes. There are some, though, that have some pretty significant changes. Sick leave and family illness, rates of pay, so that's compensation. The 401k has minor enhancements. Group benefits, so how much you pay for your medical plans and which medical plans there are, is modified. Ed Wells has enhancements to the funding. The EIP has a pretty major enhancement. There's a prof unit job code that's now going to be in the contract, and paid parental leave is in this offer, full Boeing paid parental leave, and as well as a side letter on student debt assistance. So because this contract has been renegotiated, that then makes employees working in Washington State subject to the Washington State Paid Family and Medical Leave Act. So it is a cost to this is shared by Boeing and the employee. It is a partial wage replacement of up to $1,000 a week. And it's a Washington State law that applies to most all Washington workers. You can go to paidleave.wa.gov to find out more information on it. Included in Article 6 is a language that allows other states, if they pass similar laws, that SPIA would be included in that as non-union employees would be. Even if Boeing could exclude us, they're agreeing not to. So the Washington State paid leave and family illness is family leave and medical leave, and there's a premium of 0.4% of gross wages up to your Social Security wage base. It is, which is $137,700 for 2020. A portion of it, 1/3 is for family leave, 2/3 is for medical leave. The employee pays the whole portion for the family leave. The medical leave is split with Boeing picking up more than half of it. But for the employee, what it really means is there's a cost of 63 1/3% of 0.4%, which makes it a cost of 0.2533% of the first $137,700 that you earn in 2020, which means there's a maximum per paycheck really effect. It's $13.41, and that'd be on average because it's on your first $137,000. The benefit is 12 weeks of partial wage replacement up to $1,000. And yeah, so Article 11. Oh, back on the Washington State law, I would highly encourage you to go to paidleave.wa.gov to find out more about that. So for compensation, really one of the main reasons why these interim negotiations, if you will, occurred was because of problems with the Prof and Tech wage pool and the reference to Mercer Sur's market data that really hasn't worked for either party for a very long time. Well, from as soon as it was put in place, it did not work for either party. So this offer changes how much will be wage increases versus lump sum for the remainder of this contract through 2022, and then there's a 4-year extension. And so from 2020 through 2022, there's no change in the total money. It's still going to be a 5% pool that's broken up, some of it wage pool, some of it lump sum. Keep in mind 2022 had a 4.5% pool. All this is doing is fixing that. So it's a fixed 3% wage pool for 2020, 2021, and 2022. The remainder of the 5% for 2020 and 21 and the 4.5% for 2022, the remainder is going to be a lump sum award for all profs and all techs. So for 2020, for example, it's a 3% wage pool, 2% lump sum. The current contract, and for a very long time, the contracts have had a guaranteed 0.5% that must be spent on promotions and out of sequence raises. And if that money isn't spent, then it rolls over to the next year's wage pool. That continues for 2020, 2021, and 2022. One thing that you'll note is there is a guaranteed minimum increase for 2020 of 2% for the profs and techs. SPIA had filed a grievance based on some potential or alleged inaccuracies in Boeing's performance management process, and so it's kind of hard it'd be hard for managers to give money based on performance when it appears the performance people haven't had their interim PMs, for example. So for this first year for 2020, there's a 3% wage pool. 2% of that is guaranteed. So for every single prof and every single tech for 2020, they're going to receive at minimum a 2% lump sum award and a 2% guaranteed minimum salary increase. That leaves 1% to be split out how management wants to for high performers, if you will, or low comp ratio individuals. Going forward, 2021 and 2022, that 2% guaranteed minimum disappears and it reverts back to the current language, which says that the profs have a 2% minimum, which can be satisfied by the lump. The techs have a 2.5% guaranteed minimum, which also can be satisfied by the lump sum award. So in that the profs receive a 2% lump sum award, that means that there is then 0 guaranteed minimum wage increase for the profs, hopefully in 2021 or in 2020 for the 2021 salary exercise. Boeing is better at documenting the PM process and has PMs for all the employees. In 2021, then the techs have a 2.5% minimum. If there's a 2% lump, then that means 0.5% is guaranteed for every single tech in 2021. 2022, the same thing applies, the same minimum 2%, but only 1.5% lump because the pool dropped it to 4.5 total. Leaves a 0.5% guaranteed for every single prof and 1% guaranteed for every single tech. Going forward, 2023 through 2026 in this offer is a 3% pool for the engineers and a 2% wage pool for the techs, 0% lump sum award for the profs, and a 1% lump sum award for the techs, with, and this is new, the 1.5% guaranteed to be spent on promotions and out of sequence funds. So the 1.5% is triple what it has been historically. So historically they promoted people at 0.5%, and you can see at the very bottom, the 8-year average for the profs has been just over 0.5%, and the 8-year average for the techs has been just under 0.5%. They're contractually required to spend 0.5% for the past 8 years. Going forward in this offer from 2023 through 2026, that's tripled. So either they will spend 3 times the money promoting people, or what's most likely to happen is they'll promote people at the same rate, and then that 1% goes into the next year's wage increase pool. So if they don't promote people at 3 times the rate, then the profs will have a 4% wage pool, the techs will have a 3% wage pool and a 1% lump sum. For each of the years, if you go all the way over to the right in the green, for each of the years, 2023 through 2026, 2% guaranteed raise for every single employee, prof and tech. This is the 7-year average of promotions, and this is normalized on a per 1,000 employee basis. So they've averaged 9.93 out of every 1,000, which means 9.3% of the profs each year get, on average, a promotion or an out of sequence raise to base. This is base salary, right? If they were to triple that, then it'd be 27%. So that's more than one in 4 engineers would receive a promotion or out of sequence money every single year from 2023 through 2026. It's not likely that's going to happen. So if they do promote at the same rate, then more to the wage pool. But they certainly have no excuse not to promote. They have that budget that they have to spend one way or the other. And for the techs, it's been almost the same, 8.9%. So 8.9%, if that were to be tripled, it'd be 26% of the techs every single year would get a promotion. Again, that's not likely to happen. So what is more likely to happen is that large portion of that 1.5% will be rolling to the next year's wage pool. But really, we have no idea what's going to happen. It is up to Boeing to decide. They can choose to promote a whole bunch, or they can choose to not promote a whole bunch and have that money roll into the next year's pool. So that's compensation. Much easier to understand. There's no reference to market. There's no hidden data. However, this agreement does mean that we drop our grievance on Article 11. So we filed a grievance, and if this contract is not passed, then we would continue to pursue that. So Article 15 for the 401k, this is not a large change. This allows employees to save more money. This is no additional money from the employer. And the employee's savings is really capped at the Internal Revenue Code's 415C limit. So this doesn't necessarily mean everyone can save more, but it does this increase from 30% to 50%. This means that you can save half of your base salary up to, of course, all of those IRS limits. And this will flow through to the 2021 Supplemental Savings Plan. So you can save more of your paycheck if you desire. I don't know who would want to save half of their paycheck, but if you want to catch up, you have the ability. So for Attachment A in Article 16, first, there's no change to any of the benefits themselves. So deductibles don't go up, out-of-pocket max does not increase, co-insurance doesn't change. So it's the same version of traditional that you have today, for example. The premiums, how much you pay for it, the medical plans, are not going to change also through what would have been the end of the current contract. So through 2022, there's no change to the premiums. So on that first blue row with numbers, Advantage Plus is still the free plan, and then Boeing gives you money into your HSA for that plan. Traditional, today you pay 5% of the premium. It's not 5% of your paycheck. It's 5% of the plan premium. And all of the other plans, for example, the HMOs and the Select Network plan here in the Puget Sound, or Selections Plus in Portland, are going to be 12%. Going forward, the plan uses tier-based premiums, and it's based on your base salary from July of the year prior. So in 2023, based on your premium, your base salary July 2022, if you make less than $100,000, it's almost the same as it is today. So the 0% for Advantage Plus remains at 0%. The 5% for traditional goes up to 6%, so a very minor increase in traditional medical plan, and all of the other plans at 12% remain at 12%. So for individuals making less than $100,000, there's very, very little change even in the out years of this offer. For individuals making between $100,000 and $200,000, the 0% for Advantage Plus goes up to 6%. The traditional goes from 5% to 9%. The other plans go from 12% to 15%. That is an increase, no other way to put it. For individuals making over $200,000, Advantage Plus goes from 0% to 9%. Traditional goes from 5 to 12, and all of other plans go from 12 to 18. Effective January 1, 2023, new retirees will not pay less than pay band 1. So there's no change. Those that have already retired, and keep in mind, back at the very first bullet, there's no change in deductibles either. So for those folks that are already retired, they get to keep their whatever their deductible was, and there's no change to the benefits themselves, and there's no change to the premiums either. However, new retirees, effective January 2023, will pay what they thought they were going to pay, however, not less than pay band 1. There's also no change to the preferred partnership discounts and the enhanced HSA contributions for participating in that network option. Individuals that participate get $30 less on their premiums. If you're covering yourself and a spouse or yourself and a child, you get $60 less per month. And if you're covering a full family, it's $90 less per month. About half of the individuals are in either the Advantage Plus or the traditional medical plan. So we'll spend some time, and I've got some examples of estimated monthly payroll contributions. Today is the first orange. The left-hand side is Advantage Plus, the right-hand side is traditional, and the top half is the normal network that has been around for a long time. The bottom half is the preferred partnership network option that was introduced in 2016 contract. So today, people on Advantage Plus pay nothing, and that continues for individuals in pay band 1 making under 100 grand. For individuals making between 100 and 200, they'll pay, for individuals covering just themselves, this is the employee-only rate, it's about $40 a month. All of the monthly payroll contributions, paycheck contributions you make for medical are pre-tax, so pre-FICA and pre-income, federal income tax. For individuals in the Advantage Plus making over $200,000, $62 a month. This assumes that the underlying healthcare costs go up 5% per year, so $62 a month, and then up to $72 towards the end of this contract. Traditional today, folks pay 5%, and the 5% is technically it's $31.78 right now. I've rounded to 32, and all these are rounded numbers because it's just an estimated inflation of 5% anyway. So $32 a month for individuals. That's expected to go up about 5% with healthcare inflation, but when the 2023 contract comes in the different pay bands, so individuals go from 5% to 6%. You see that jump right there from 35 to 44. From 100 to 200, you can see that it's larger increase, and for folks making more than $200,000, it's an even larger increase. But again, the more money that you make, the higher your marginal tax rates are. Since these are all pre-tax, they come off your highest marginal tax rate. So the fact that it's pre-tax also helps the people that make more also. It's not a benefit to pay more. Let that be clear. It's not a benefit to pay more for medical, but it might not cost you as much as you think. Preferred partnership is minus $30 from the normal network per month. Employee and spouse, or employee and child or children, is the same numbers that were just discussed for individuals times 2. So because you're covering now on average 2 people. And then full family would be times 3. So for a full family on traditional, the vast majority of the folks represented make between $100,000 and $200,000. So you're looking at, in 2023, about $200 a month. Because it's taken out pre-tax, maybe you'll notice your paycheck go down by $150, not the full $200. And that's really only an increase of $100 because you're already paying, or you would have already been paying, $105 a month. So it's an increase of $94. $94 a month. Maybe you notice 74 of it. And again, the folks making more than $200,000 will pay slightly more. The preferred partnership is minus $90 per month. So for individuals on Advantage Plus plan, it is free today. But even the folks making the most money, over $200,000, are only going to pay $216 a month for the normal network, or about $126 a month for the preferred partnership, which is still a bargain compared to what else is out there. For comparisons, this is the non-union 2020 compared to what SPIA in this offer would have starting in 2023. The non-union also have their version of Advantage Plus and Traditional, and they also have all others, but notice their pay bands are different. The non-union have pay bands that are $75,000, where ours are $100,000, and their premium percentages are also much higher. So, for example, if you focus on Traditional, the vast majority of people are either in Advantage Plus or Traditional, and they make between $100,000 and $200,000. Traditional is 20% of the premium, and there's a whole bunch more non-union folks in this plan. So, you can see the demographics on the bottom. So in $100,000 increments, we have about 5,300 split pretty evenly, profs and techs that make less than 100 grand. We have about 12,500, 12,600 that make between 100 and 200, and we have just under 500 individuals that make over $200,000 today. That's today's base salary. If we would have used the $75,000 increment, a whole bunch of people would have been pushed from pay band 1 into pay band 2. And a whole bunch of people would have been pushed from pay band 2 into pay band 3. So having our pay bands higher than the non-union is also a really nice benefit, and the percentages that you pay are lower. So it's kind of a double, for Edwells, the funding increases each year of the contract on a headcount basis at the same rate that it was expected to increase. There's an inflationary factor in there. I believe it's 2% per year increase. And there's also a one-time supplement of $250,000 for targeted classes. The EIP, this is the annual incentive plan that has historically paid out very well, is based on a target of 10 days in your current contract. There's 2,080 hours a year divided by 8. Means there's 260 days a year, and so 10 days out of 260 is really a target of 3.84%. In this offer, the target increases just to a flat 5%, which means it's 30% more bonus. So we've also, in this offer, we have stronger language that discusses how the one company score will work, but it's one company score regardless of the bonus structure that people are on. It is a target that's the company performance, and then the company can perform at 0% of the target or 200% of the target. So, for example, today in the current contract, we can look at 2019 paid based on 2018 performance year was 166% of target. So it's 166% of 10 days, makes 16.6 days. That target is now moving to 5%, and it's the same target for the non-union that participate in something called PBI. It's the performance-based incentive. Managers have the manager incentive program, and the executive short-term incentive program all use that same company score. So that same 166% is used for the EIP for SPIA, the PBI for non-union, MIP for managers, and STIP for executives. So 30% more bonus. Paid, this is Boeing paid parental leave. This is different than the state law that we talked about. This is a negotiated benefit, and effective June 1, 2020, with a 12-month look back. So we'll get to that in a second. Available for birth, adoptions, surrogacy, or foster placements is 12 weeks of salary continuation. So 100% of your salary for 12 weeks. You must complete all of the 12 weeks. You have to exhaust your, you will exhaust your rights to this benefit after you've spent 12 weeks, and it has to be completed within 1 year of the event. It can only be taken in 1 week increments, and it runs concurrently with, and it's offset by, the Washington paid family and medical leave. If it occurs during a holiday, the Boeing paid parental leave will be forfeited for those days for which you'll receive holiday pay. So a holiday won't extend how long you can use your parental leave. And you have to provide 30 days advance notice if the need for the leave is foreseeable. If it's not, then you have 2 days to report it to your manager. So what this means, let's pretend that your spouse had a child in October of 2019. October of 2019 is within that 12-month look back, so you can take 12 weeks of pay, 12 weeks off with full pay, as long as you complete those 12 weeks within 1 year of October 2019. You're not eligible to start this until June. So really what this means is for anyone who's had a child in the past 12 months, a lot of people are going to be gone the month of June, July, and August of this year in 2020. And then, so that's the full document is actually in our contract. So the red line is online. You can, it's a PDF, and you can do Control F and type the word parental. It'll take you right to it. And so read the details and have a fun summer. This does not require management approval, so you have a contractual right to do this. A lot of folks take the summer off, I think. And lastly, this is this is one of the results of that paid parental leave. In 2016, negotiating with Boeing, we had a lot of discussions about parental leave. And at that time, Boeing didn't have parental leave for any of their employee groups. So they were not willing to grant it to SPIA first. Quickly thereafter, in 2017, Boeing announced a parental leave program for non-union employees, and they expanded it later. And SPIA was really kind of left waiting and wanting that parental leave, and we couldn't have it because we were in the middle of a contract. And it took these interim negotiations to have this put in the offer. Similar to that, Boeing and SPIA have been discussing student loan debt assistance, whether it be matching payroll contributions. So, if you make payroll contributions to your student loan, Boeing might match that and help you pay your student loans. Or we've had discussions if Boeing were to if you make payroll deductions for student loans, Boeing could match your student loan payments and put some of that match in your 401k. We've had lots of discussions about it, but nothing has happened anywhere within Boeing. There's a tuition.io that's really an educational tool that helps you. And so effective January 2021, we will be involved in tuition.io. But this side letter that we have says that if Boeing were to put in place a program for the non-union employees where they actually get a monetary benefit from it, that we would get that also, even if it happens in the middle of our contract. So that which happened to parental leave that kind of upset us so much is not going to happen with student loan debt forgiveness or student loan debt assistance. So that is the summary of the offer. This video will be put on the SPIA website, or a link to it will be. There's a red line on the SPIA.org website. There should be a clean copy of the contract, so without all those red lines, because some articles are difficult to read when there's tons of red lines. So a clean copy, the red line copy, and this video should all be online. The Buck meeting is happening later today, and this will be posted online after that. If you have any questions, I'm hoping that you don't all email me, but my name is Matt Kemp, and you can go to spia.org, look up staff, and then my email address is there. You can certainly shoot me a question via email, or you can also ask your counsel rep questions about the contract. If your counsel rep can't answer questions about the contract, then you can always also go to your contract administrator, which are geographically assigned SPIA staffers to help the counsel reps. And if they can't answer it, and if it's about retirement or compensation, feel free to ask me a question. Thank you. And